Hello everyone, so in this tutorial, I'm going to make a video about Git Stash. So I create a new repository on my remote and I'm going to create a new file and let's name it as test.txt, and then in the test.txt, I'm going to add some text 1, and the commit message, I'm going to put it as the same as what I have written in the file. Let's commit it. Alright, you see here, there's 2 commit instead of 1 commit just now. So I'm going to clone this into my local. Let us do git clone, this one. Alright, so you do ls, I'm going to change to the test directory. Okay, so there's a test.txt file. Right now, let's say I'm modifying it, and let's say I'm going to add 2, and this is my changes. Okay, I'm save it, and if you do git status, you see there are some changes in your test.txt. So let's say right now, your colleague or anyone have modified it, test.txt file, and push it to the remote right now. So I'm going to click on test.txt, I'm going to edit it, and let's say someone has modified it and add some changes to in the test.txt and commit it, and these changes, they have pushed it to the remote. Okay, so these changes, you have to pull it to your local first before you further modifying the file and then push it back to remote. So you have to take the changes of what your colleague have done. Okay, so how do you do it? We have to do a git fetch origin to pull the changes from the remote to your local. Let us do git fetch origin. Alright, so if you do a git k -all, you can see that right now your local master branch and the remote master branch have diverged. And in your local master branch, there's a local uncommitted changes and it's not checked into the index, which means that it's in your working directory. It's not in the staging area, it's not being committed. Alright, so right now you have fetched the changes from the remote, and right now you can do a rebase. Let's close it. If you do git status, you can see that it says your branch is behind the origin master by 1 commit, which can be fast forward. So we can do fast forward by doing git rebase origin / master branch. And of course, it does not allow you to rebase because you have unstaged changes. If you have unstaged changes, Git does not allow you to rebase. Otherwise, you mess up whatever is in the remote and your changes. So you have to save your changes in some place first. And in this case, we are going to use git stash to save the changes, okay, in a place. You can actually commit your changes or you can actually use stash. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to use git stash. So just type git stash. So it says that it's saving the working directory and the base is 1, okay? So if you do git stash list, so you can see that stash 0, this one, is the changes from your base to what you have done. Okay, so this is a delta. This is the changes. Okay, it's saving in the stash. Alright, so right now you can do a git rebase origin / master. Or maybe let me show you something first. Git k -all. So right now, instead of local uncommitted changes, it save your changes into a stash, and the stash is, this is the delta, okay, and the base is 1, which is the commit that you have fetched from the remote. Alright, and right now we can do a git rebase. Okay, if you do git log right now, you can see that your head is right now is pointing toward this commit, and this is where your local master branch, the commit of your local master branch. It took the changes from the remote repository. So right now you have taken the changes from your colleague into your local, and your own changes right now is being saved as a stash, okay? And right now you want to apply the delta on top of the commit that you have just fetched from the remote repository. What we can do git stash pop. So git stash pop, it means that it's going to delete the delta that you have just saved and then apply it on top of the commit that your head is pointing to. Okay, so you can see after you apply the git stash pop, it says that there's a merge conflict in the test.txt because at the second line of the test.txt, you have made a changes which is 2, and then the changes that you have made is different from test.txt that is committed by your colleague. So at the second line, there's changes and Git doesn't know which one to take, and only yourself know that whether the changes you should take from the colleague or whether the changes you should take from yourself. So that right now you have to solve the conflict manually. Alright, so right now I have typed in the git merge tool. I've configured beyond compare as my merging tool. So it has opened up the beyond compare application, and over here on the left side is your changes tool, and on the right side is the tool in text by your colleague. Okay, and this is the base. This is the base which your colleague and you start to make the changes from. Alright, and right now I'm going to show you the first scenario first. The first scenario is that you want to take your changes instead of your colleague changes. So I'm going to click left, and right now it has taken the changes. Over here on the bottom, this is a final test.txt file that you are going to have in your working directory. So I'm going to save it and close it right now. And if you do git status, you can see the test.txt. Originally, the test.txt file, it contains the item which is based on this commit, which is based on the remote repository, which is 1 and 2 in text. Okay, and right now you have modified it. If you do git diff negative cache, you can see instead of these two, you have deleted it and you have add your own changes. And Git helps you to add it into the index already. And what you can, okay, so because it's in your working directory, you have no commit yet, so you have to commit it. Negative, commit, negative, and I'm going to type, this is my new commit. Alright, so you do git log, negative git log, and you can see this is the commit of your remote, and this is your own changes that you have just applied on top of this commit. You can push it to the remote repository, and if you do a refresh, you can see the two text is being replaced by your changes. Okay, and notice that right now if I do a git stash list, there's still a stash even though just now we do a git stash pop. This is because the git stash, when we try to do a git stash pop, it fails because there's a merge conflict. So when you come to the git stash documentation, it says that if you apply git stash pop, it can fail with conflicts. So it will not remove from the stash list if you do a git stash list. The stash is still there. So what you can do if you want to remove it, you can call git stash drop manually afterwards. So right now, if we do git stash drop and you remove the topmost stash, so it says that drop the stash, and if you do git stash list again, you can see that right now the stash is being removed already. Okay, so right now I'm going to show you another scenario when we apply the stash, there's no merge conflict. So I'm going to modify. If you do git log, so let's see if it's in sync. Okay, right now I'm going to modify the text file, and I'm going to add some text, 3, let's say. Okay, and in the remote repository, I'm also going to modify the text, but right now I'm going to modify the first line. So 1 so let's say 1 and right now what I can do git fetch origin to take the changes from the remote repository, and I'm going to do a git rebase origin / master, and again it won't allow us to do the rebase because you have changes in your local, and I'm going to do a git stash, and you do a git stash list. You can see there's a stash which the base is based on the commit 2. If you do git log -3, okay, so it's based on this commit, and this is a commit ID. So you have a stash which is based on this commit, and right now I'm going to proceed with git rebase. Alright, so if right now you do a git stash pop, there won't be any merge conflict. and it will have a auto merging. Okay, because the changes in the remote, right? The changes in the remote is the first line, and the changes in your local is the third line. All right, so since the changes is in different line, and Git know which one to take. All right, and you just take the first line from the remote into your local, and then if you do a git stash pop, you take the changes which you have made in the third line. Okay, so right now you haven't commit it. You have to you can see nano test. You can see you have take the changes 1 and as well as your changes. Okay, and if you do git right now I'm going to add the test.txt and commit it 3, and I'm going to push it to the remote. Alright, so if you do git stash list right now, since there's no much conflict, right? So if you do git stash pop, the stash will be removed from the place that you have saved from the stash. Okay, you just be removed. Alright, so if you go to refresh it, you can see your changes right now is in the remote already. Alright, so thank you so much for watching this Git Stash tutorial. Hope you enjoy it. Thanks.